Good morning, I'm forecaster Jimmy O'Neill from the KMET Weather Center. For the Beaumont and Banning area for the daytime hours, sunshine through the day, highs are in the lower 90s. For the afternoon hours in the IE area, there'll be sunshine high in the mid 90s, and for the afternoon in the Coachella Valley, sunshine, expect a high of 103. I'm forecaster Jimmy O'Neill for Smart Talk 1490 KMET.
That's right. It's the morning show here on ABC News Radio KMET 1490 AM. It's a wonderful day and a beautiful day as well to get whatever you need started. We've got a lot of things going on in the world, and some of which we're trying to make sense of. I know Jesse over there is trying to make sense of the world in some ways. He's come across quite a few stories that we're wondering if we should share because they make him a little upset, including one about Yellowstone, which I'm not going to lie, I kind of share with you in this. I kind of feel like an old man right now because I remember back in the day being a teen and seeing it as a very common thing, but I'm going to let you take it away, Jesse. Go ahead.
Okay, so yeah, I don't understand the destruction of property, and just like especially if you're in nature, I can understand if you're like on the side of a building or something. But yeah, no, there's apparently some vandalism hit the Yosemite Falls Trail, and someone with a spray paint or spray can, yeah, whatever, spray paint. Yeah, just likes to. I can understand if it was like art or something, but it's just a bunch of scribbles, and it's horrible to look at. Like, why would you even do that?
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And where did they, like, leave it? Like, on rocks or on, like, walls? Or, like, because Yosemite's got a lot of places to kind of camp out,
Right. Yeah. No. It's on the trail. It's on a bunch of rocks. So yeah, national parks have been continued to the victims of graffiti. You know what? They've been doing this everywhere. It seems like it more and more often now.
Yeah, you know what? I've been seeing it in my backyard, literally, and I was like I mentioned this, like I think the other day about like certain gangs, and I was talking to somebody about gangs and how they kind of picked up and why they picked up recently, and it was interesting because they're like, well, basically they were trying to do gang prevention for a while, and then when coronavirus hit, it kind of like they pulled back, and then gangs kind of got out of hand, and now they're kind of back at it the way they were, and it was an interesting discussion on her take on the system because she's well, let's just put it this way, she kind of knows a lot about certain programs that the police kind of do and certain gang things as well, and her idea was like Gascon and all of the police and all that is a situation, but not really the heart of the matter, so to speak, or at the core of the matter. So having said that, I've seen certain like graffiti in my area, and usually whenever you have graffiti, that's called a kind of like we own this part of town. So if you're another one that is in the area and you come across our area and we find you, we're going to shoot you, right? So it's actually a bad signal among the community, which is why, other than looking like like it's one of those things where certain businesses want to cover it up right away because you don't want that to kind of like stay, you know what I mean? Because it's called we own this territory. When in reality, they don't. But when it comes to drugs or when it comes to like, their part of town, they kind of become very ownership of it. And no community wants to become under that type of, I don't know what you want to call it. Whatever it is they think they own, you know what I mean? It's like, well, if you own that in prison then, if you're going to go start, I don't want you to start shooting up my neighborhood, because there's some neighborhoods that are very common with that. If you think like Watts, if you think like certain parts of LA, that's a very common thing to see. And you used to see back in the day, and sometimes you still do, like certain bandanas, right? Like sometimes a blue bandana or a red bandana or a black bandana. Black is very common, but sometimes gangs kind of roll with certain bandanas. But I'm like, that was in the 80s. Why are you guys bringing that back? You know what I mean? And then some of the wear is the same. So it's like, again, what are you guys doing? But a lot of people are packing heat. That's why, like in Montebello, there was a huge you remember we talked about it at 7-Eleven where they started shooting at each other, but they both were carrying guns, and I guarantee you neither one has a permit. Where did they get the gun? So something that you're saying about Yosemite, I'm kind of like, all right, are they like, okay, we're the bears and you're the you know what I mean? Like, like, what's going on, man? It's nature. What are you doing? It's nature.
So the bears versus the wolves. I got you. Those rascally animals.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it's like, okay, what are you gonna do next? So, I just say, look, at the end of the day, you got to be careful, and you got to like say, hey, no, because if they're doing like rocks or boulders or stuff, it's kind of like hard to like cover that up with more rock paint. So, what's the solution? I don't know the solution. Is there a solution for like getting that type of, because I know those markers are pretty solid. It's not easy to just like rinse them off and wipe them down, right?
I'd probably say like a pressure washer.
Okay,
That'd
that
probably,
makes sense.
yeah, that'd probably be the easiest way to remove it.
That makes sense. Yeah. So, actually, you know what? That's probably the only way to do it. Now that I think about it. Actually, you know what? That's a smart idea. That's probably the only way to do it. Because you could rip off a lot of stuff off of like a wall, right? Or like bad paint. You could. You're right. Because pressure. Actually, that's a good idea, Jesse. We should like send that to them. I bet they're like, how are we gonna get this away? Because I remember being at certain parks and I remember seeing certain like little tags in certain areas, but they kind of leave it. So it's sad that we're back to that again when it's like, it's nature, but I don't know. And then some people, you know what? I do know some graffiti artists that turn over a leaf eventually, like when they grow up, and they make a kind of like a business out of it if they get kind of swayed that way. Otherwise, they just stay that way. So I always say that's kind of like good talent wasted. You know what I mean?
Oh yes, yes. Like the only reason I thought of a pressure washer because I remember a story. I think it was from somewhere in the UK where this guy he would pressure wash this bridge overpass or something
Yeah.
because someone would always like be drawing on it and this guy was like the street artist was like okay maybe if I can draw something it'll go away blah 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 so apparently he drew something and the guy who pressure washed it was like no I don't want to get rid of this because it was so amazing and it was like really really good
Yeah.
so he ended up finding the artist and it was just like, you know what, I'm gonna like find a way to make it stay. But you know what? I've seen a lot of great artists who go from like the I don't even want to say it, the very, very poor, just like street writing.
Yeah.
They do full pictures with spray paint and it's amazing.
Yeah, it's wasted talent in my opinion, and even like, logo artists, you know what I mean? Or like, it's like, all right, and I get it in a way because like if you go west on the 10 freeway, you go westbound, you'll see on the right-hand side before you hit the 5 freeway, you'll see a lot of graffiti on like the wall and sometimes on like trains, right? And sometimes on like what do you call it, semis, right? And you're like, all right, and they tag it in a way that it's like it's their signature, right? But back to that, there's a way to do it and get paid for it, but they just don't have the guidance in the meantime. So I would say to all like graffiti artists that kind of turn over a leaf of like, I don't know, anything over like 30 to 40 to 50 to 60, to kind of start reaching out to some of these young ones because they can apply it in a good way instead of like applying it for their gang. You know what I mean? Sometimes they get up on like billboards and, I mean, kudos to them for getting up there. I don't know how they get up there in the first place. And then they kind of like do that in the middle of the night, right? Or they hangover. I go do so responsibly. But again, it's kind of like the parents are it's wasted talent is my point. Does that make sense?
Oh no, yeah, it is. Like I told my brother, I wish the city would do like for if there's a lot of street artists, make like a portion of a wall or like even build like a wall specifically designed for people, rent it out.
Oh, that's a good idea.
This way they can practice their medium and then like every week, or every session, they pressure wash it off or whatever. I don't know, just to keep because a lot of people they just want something to paint on and they don't have the ability to do it because my brother he loves spray paint and
yeah
he used to do all that stuff. I won't say what he did, but he has like a giant piece of plywood in the backyard and at night or wherever he just goes out there and goes on his spray paint and just does little drawings or whatever.
Yeah, again, I will say, and I remember I met a very good artist, and he grew up. He was like, I think 28 at the time or so. Yeah, anywhere from, yeah, 20, 29, 30. He looked like a young, youthful guy. But he got paid to actually do some of his artwork on buildings, kind of like as they're outside, like a DJ area. I remember like down the street, it's no longer there, but he was able to like put like his kind of creation on a DJ like business, where they sold DJ equipment, right? And some go legit, and then they take a picture of it because it's actually copyright. You know what I mean? Like and some artists actually go next level where it's like if you kind of film some of that because it's considered art ish, right? You can actually claim that's your work and then get paid for it. You know what I mean? Or sometimes it's called take down because that's my art. You didn't get approved. That's a lot of like in LA, a lot of kind of go legit artists kind of go that way. I say don't go that way because then you want your stuff to be seen anyway. If anything, just get a credit, like say, oh, this person did this or that, and those are people that want to be known. You know what I mean? But it's very creative art, and I say if you could do that, get it behind a computer and do art like, for Lucas Films or, Pixar or, you know what I mean? Like start applying that to where you can make some really good cash, Because gangs aren't going to do that for you,
Right? You'd be surprised how much certain artists make.
Yeah, it's true.
You just have to get out there and, figure it out. Network is key.
Yeah, true. So I think we just turned a very bad situation into a positive if they just would listen, right? Just share with someone that has a little marker. If they have a marker, and or I don't know how much it is to get those spray cans, right? Aren't they like a pretty $1?
Yeah, you know what? They are not cheap. I don't know how these kids are getting them, but they're expensive.
Exactly, So I don't know. Hire them and then see what they could do with it. Again, it's an art. It's not something I ever did. I know how to draw, but I don't know how to color. I'm a very bad, when it comes to that. Although I did see a person who was doing watercolor because I'm looking for a artist for my books, the children's series. I actually had one person. It was sad. I was like, I'm sorry. They bought the book and they're like, well, I expected pictures. I'm like, sorry. There's like little picture, you know what I mean. But I still need more money to get pictures. You know what I mean. So I said, all right. Well, as soon as we come out with the new one, I'll let you know. Yeah, and that's A Butterfly Story, which you can check out. I'll post the trailer again for you guys to see that. But it's very interesting, very good. Getting good buzz, literally. All right, Jesse, we need to take a quick break. When we come back, we got more right after these messages, including something that I know Jesse's kind of like, huh, what, who, where, when, why, insurance, a vehicle, and STDs? Yeah, we got that coming up next here on The Morning Show. Stay tuned.
Get up to the minute forecast and temperatures for Beaumont, Banning, Redlands, Palm Springs, your community, national or international cities, on KMET's website, KMET1490am.com. The station now features AccuWeather. AccuWeather offers weekend and extended forecasts along with the latest radar map and current conditions. AccuWeather on KMET1490am.com. Logged in every morning for your daily forecast.
Are you a self-published author that maybe underestimated the challenges of marketing your own book? I'm Suzanne Lynn, and we help authors sell more books through video interviews and radio advertising. You see, a professional video interview is really an author's secret weapon for marketing because it makes an emotional connection with your reader that can be posted to social media, YouTube, your book's landing page and website, your Amazon author page, and even sent to media to request interviews. We guarantee that video interview will be viewed by a minimum of 3,000 people in your target audience. And let's face it, no one can sell your book better than you speaking about it yourself. Plus, we can run commercials on our nationwide network of radio stations that targets your specific reading audience. Find out more at GiveMyBookWings.com. That's GiveMyBookWings.com. Again, GiveMyBookWings.com.
The Holiday Inn Express and Suites in Banning is distinctively suited for your travel time out of the car. Off the road, you'll find a courteous, welcoming staff in spacious rooms with desks, flat-screen HD TVs, and comfortable furnishings. Enjoy the complimentary breakfast buffet, high-speed internet, and fitness center and pool. The Holiday Inn Express and Suites in Banning, conveniently located off the I-10 near golf, gaming, and entertainment. For reservations and information, call 951-572-5500. That's 951-572-5500, or go online at hiebanning.com.
Express Frame thanks our troops and veterans for everything they've done so fearlessly for us on a daily basis. Send letters or care packages and give blood. Also offer a veteran a job or discount on your local product. It'll be greatly appreciated. That's from Sue and Alex of Express Frame, your complete framing experts with a reputation that precedes them. For more information, call 760-773-9228. Veteran discounts available. That's Express Frame in Palm Desert, the area's best for your framing needs. And they're waving their flags high, saying USA all the way.
Welcome back. Yes, it is the morning show here on ABC News Radio, KMET 1490 AM. Again, we got a lot of good things going on in the world, and of course, some things that we go, what is going on there? I'm not going to lie, I saw some, I didn't really pay attention to the whole Amber Heard and Depp case. I know, Jesse, you did, but I was surprised to see something on social media that I was like, what? And I guess it's been kind of making the rounds, and I guess he lost a finger over it. Is that right?
Yeah, from what I took from it, like she threw a bottle or something, and I can't remember the exact specifics, but yeah, she ended up like severing a part of his finger.
Yeah, because they play it in social media, and I'm not gonna lie, I was laughing like a lot yesterday. I didn't mean to laugh, but the way Depp said it in his testimony, he's like, yeah, she did this, and lost my finger, and I really loved that, like it was like he missed it, like that was a body part he just wishes he still had, and she's looking, because they showed like her view, which I thought was great. I'm like, why can't we have more court like this, what I mean? And she was like, yeah, and like she had that like that face, like, what are you gonna do? Like, there was no apology, there was no like, I'm so ashamed of myself, there was no like any of that, and I'm like, what did I miss? I think I missed a lot, Jesse. I think I missed too much. So that's why I'm sticking to it. I thought that was funny. But now there's some more stuff out there, and evidently you just got something because I saw your face go, what?
No, I was just all like, I wanted to see what fingertip he lost. I was just like, hopefully it wasn't a important finger, and now I realize why, because it's his middle finger. That's
yeah, like bye middle finger, I mean, not the whole finger, just I guess the tip, which is still bad because it looks really bad. Like they have like photos of the I guess he went to the hospital, right? And I mean, it's like bleeding, and it's like just nasty. I saw Halo recently. There's a episode, I think it's like the third or fourth one, and the lady does that. You have to see why she does that, but it was like her nail, and it's like, oh, nasty. And I'm like, somebody just knows a little too much of finger, like, pop, goodbye, and there you go. Ugh. I don't know who could be okay with that, but I'm glad he basically won the case, but I don't know. I did see a post that he said pretty much it's not about the money. He doesn't expect her to pay. He just wanted his wrong fixed, right? His name and reputation put back the way it was before, right? Now, I'm not going to say that she's, 100% the bad guy. I think it takes two to tango, and I think they got a little heated, and they have like a lover spat that they had, but she went next level. As women would say, cray cray. You know what I mean?
Oh, yes. I feel like actors are going a little bit crazier. Like she writes that little op-ed piece, okay? And then Johnny loses everything. Now, type in Ezra Miller's name, the guy that's acting as the Flash.
Oh, no.
And you'll see, type in Ezra Miller. And you'll see a world of reports. And I'm thinking to myself, why is this guy not fired yet?
Yeah.
And it's just like, why... a lot of this guy just needs to like take away from the Ezra Miller needs to take away from the filming, and that he needs help. But like a lot of these, I feel like a lot of these production companies, they what is it? Support their craziness. I don't even know what the word would be.
My point is this, and look, you have actor, you have business, and then you have fun, right? Don't let the actors thing kind of get in the way of the fun of the crew's filming. Does that make sense? Like sometimes they stop a whole production and they can a person over like a tweet or over an article or over something that comes up that came up like 12 years ago based on public opinion. But at the end of the day, when the movie comes out, more often than not, it's kind of squashed. You know what I mean? But certain careers have been kind of ruined for it. Now, I'm not going to say that certain like, because there's been some pretty mean stuff out there, which I guess people tweet out, and, you know, like they did it when they were like 13, 14, or 15, right? And then 20 years later, it comes out, or maybe 8 to 10 years later, it comes out, and they're like, well, I'm a changed person. I don't think that way anymore. I'm sorry, it's still there on social media. How many kids post stuff that they don't think about later when they all of a sudden become professional, but they now, like, you know, they used to talk the talk as the kids do, so to speak, but now they're like, well, I'm a changed person, you know what I mean? And I've seen that happen with certain shows. And I'm like, at the end of the day, just let the person kind of like come full circle and say, all right, whatever. And at the end of the day, why does that matter when it's a movie or it's a story? Kind of like back to this thing, right? It got a little out of hand when I think they canned him when they obviously shouldn't have. And I think they'll probably go back to making some more Pirates of the Caribbean movies because of it. But back to her, like, should she be no longer the Aquaman girl? You know what I mean? I say let her be Aquaman girl. You know, it's good for her. Don't can her now. She learned from it, number one. And number two, I just don't think you should kind of like bring people's personal lives into their business lives unless it's like a CEO that has like, you know, hate all over it. You know what I mean? That's a little different because you're representing a whole company. And if that's your thing and you go off on somebody in public and they capture you on video, that I understand because that's more current. But if it's not current and it's like way back when you were a teen, we've all been teens. We've all said stuff. You know, I mean, you and I, when we were teens, I don't think we took to Twitter because I don't know, was Twitter? I don't think Twitter was around when we were young. Thank God, right?
So to be honest, when we were growing up, social media was not really a thing. Thank God. But
you're like the things I would have had to retract or take back, right?
No, because I wasn't that type of person that would be doing stuff like that.
All right.
I mean, like, let's see, what was it? Have you ever seen the movie Jeepers Creepers?
Not gonna lie, not my type of film. But I think I saw like a good 8 to 12 minutes of it, and I was like, ooh.
Yeah, it was the first one was a little bit creepy, but like the director or whoever made that movie was a convicted pedophile.
Oh God, no. Okay, yeah, no, I take that back. Okay, pedophiles, bye-bye. I do not need to see your stuff. I do not want it. I do not need it. In fact, you should go to prison. And some people still think that Polanski thing is a situation, but I don't know. That's a weird situation. But go ahead.
No, it's just this like, should an actor's personal life judge how I watch a movie? I want to say yes, because then why should I care about them? Like, I see actors come out all the time like, yeah, support me. It's like, okay, I'll support you. But then if you're not the type of person I want to support, why would I watch your movies?
Yeah, or give me my money back, right? Like, I
feel bad for the people who are working on the set of the movie and stuff like that, but it's just like, I don't want to watch it.
Yeah, well, you know, it's funny, and I guess there is a line that I'm glad we're discussing this because I'm always open to like, well, okay, that's different, but that's not an Amber situation. Amber is a situation of like when certain girls go bad behind the scenes and guys break up with them eventually, but they don't break up with them right away because they think, oh, it could be fixed, when in reality it can't be fixed. They got like a little too buzzed, you know what I mean? And I think alcohol was involved and definitely maybe some drugs, which they both are known to take, so I'm like, all right. But at the end of the day, even those that are on sets like that, they know that, you know what I mean? There's other ones that are very well known. Angelina Jolie, for example, way back in the day used to use. I mean, that came full circle when Brad Pitt kind of made a situation of that. Then they, separated and divorced. And, the situation for the kids is like, what do we do now? But is she over? I would say yes. But, maybe she does drink a little too much. I don't know. But the point is this. Many studio heads know this already, but because they bring in the box office numbers, they don't really care. But when public opinion kind of comes into it, then they go, okay, wait, what? Now, I do understand, again, the Disney name, and Disney's very big on this because I've seen certain contracts. I remember having a friend who signed on to a project. It was a series, and in the contract it said basically if you do any of like the aforementioned, and it was like a lot of stuff like drinking in public or like becoming a situation in like that becomes very well known. Like for example, if you're a white supremacist, right, and it becomes known you're part of an organization, should you be canned from a production that has anyone and everyone? I would say, well, that depends. A, can you prove it? And B, was it some hate speech? Now, hate speech can be misconstrued as that, but if you're like a part of an organization that's pretty obvious on that, I would say, again, it depends because there's a lot of white supremacists that, like certain films. So, but there's nothing good that comes from pedophile. I have a problem with pedophiles and anybody that like rapes a kid. You know what I mean? It's just like, especially if you're convicted or you become all of a sudden big, well known. Like there's a guy I think with a church recently that got found out, and on like his photos he looks like, hey, I'm a nice guy, but at the end of the day he got convicted for being that, and it's like, okay, he marred his whole reputation for that. Thank God it came out so he doesn't do it again and again, because there's a lot of ones that do it again and again. So it's a very interesting topic, but again, I think when it came to Depp and Heard, that was a relationship thing that like you see the two and you're like, yeah, I can see this going south. And a lot of people have stories like that with relationships, right? But again, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong on this. Jesse, what's the situation when it comes to Geico?
Oh, God, Geico. Okay, so I thought the only ways to claim like insurance was like if you crash your car or something like that. No. Way to go, Missouri. The Missouri Court of Appeals is siding with a woman who won a $5.2 million award against Geico in a case again that centers on a unique auto injury claim. The woman says she contracted a sexually transmitted disease in a Hyundai sedan. I'm glad they mentioned the model of the car, whose owner was injured by Geico. Oh, insured by Geico. Oh my God. The woman identified in court papers as MO says a man identified as MB infected her with the human papilloma virus, or HPV. So I don't know a lot about STDs.
Yeah.
I know what HPV was.
You should, by the way. Yeah, because you never know.
It's herpes.
Yeah.
I knew what herpes was. I just didn't know it was called that. I'm just like, oh my God.
Yeah, and there's different versions of it, by the way. There's a kind you get on your face. That's kind known as a cold sore, right? That's a very common herpes, by the way. They say on average 1 out of actually no, that's wrong. 8 out of 10 people have that form, especially by the age of 20 or 28. That's why I say be careful who you kiss, right? Because you never, like The Bachelor, right? Like, do they even test for that so that, the girl kisses like 8 guys on a date and they all got it, you know what I mean? Especially if they have a cold sore forming. But something that you're talking about, again, was it genital? That's kind of the question I have.
Let's see. Geico had told the woman its auto insurance coverage did not apply because the damages claims did not arise out of the normal use of the vehicle. Let's see. Where did she figure out where it was? Oh, here we go. She says the man was negligent and didn't tell her about his health diagnosis, despite having a throat cancer tumor that was confirmed to be positive for HPV.
Okay, so wait. Okay, so this is interesting. Okay, this is my next level. I didn't read the article all the way. So throat cancer or throat herpes is what she's saying so I think, okay, now I got a question on that. So if he had it in his throat, that means, was it due to kissing that she got it, or was it due to?
I don't think it was on his throat. So they were doing an act, okay?
What do you mean an act?
Think about it. She got like
Oh, right. But no. Okay, what was her diagnosis eventually? Was it just HPV, or did she have you get, because herpes can be different things, by the way. It could be more face, evidently throat, and or in your body, which is known as genital. That's a whole other one. But and that comes up as warts, by the way. So if you see warts and like certain things down there, that's a bad thing. All right, that's when you go, can we get tested just to make sure we're... And people like that go on Tinder dates or like other dates, you should get tested, all right? Because you never know who the person's with next or who they have been with, right? So that's why I say be careful, like, in the dating world, especially... back in the day, they would say, you get tested before you get married, right? But I know there's been a lot of testing. Again, any lab test, now.com, go check them out. We actually talked to a lot of their people there, and they said, yeah, it's very common. But, sometimes the test could be a little expensive, but it's better to do, especially if you enter a relationship that you don't want to pass on anything. And it's better to do it, honestly, when you're single anyway. That way, if you have to treat it, you can treat it. Because there are certain therapies out there and drugs that will actually help you with anyone STD, like chlamydia or gonorrhea or, AIDS, right? You want to know ahead of time. That's why they say check for STDs.org, I think is another one that I see on billboards all the time. And I will say if you don't, and if your person that you become interested in doesn't, then all of a sudden you're in this situation. But I guess the situation that I asked this is this. How did she win this case? Because she got $5.2 million against Geico, when in reality, I didn't think insurance was... I get like a traffic accident. How did they apply it to this? I think a lot of women out there going, payday, and even maybe some men going, payday, but I don't think Geico can go on for long if everybody turns in like a claim like that. You know what I mean? And then how do you prove that you got it in the vehicle? Does the guy like hand over his insurance information? Like, how did that get where it got? I get her being upset. I get that. I totally understand that. And I've seen that happen where certain people sue for like all of a sudden getting or contracting AIDS, right? And they're like, why didn't you tell me? So then they sue the person if they have money. In this case, are they going to insure him again? I don't think the little Geico can like handle this type of PR. What do you think, Jesse?
Oh my God, the Geico Gecko. I honestly don't know how they should be appealing like crazy. I don't even know what court would do this. Like, it makes no sense. Like the sheer number of claims that are going to come out now. So I'm pretty sure all auto insurance is going to have like some kind of love making claim in there somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
But
that's my question. Do we all have to pay for it at the end of the day? Are we going to have to pay for that? How many people make out in the, it goes back to like what? The 30s, 40s, 50s when, whoop, baby, backseat love. You know what I mean? Like, is there a statute on this? Like, you gave me a baby that I didn't want. Now I'm going to sue you because you're not paying for my, think of like Grease. Remember that? Like in that movie Grease, she all of a sudden gets knocked up and, but, I don't know, Jesse. I don't know what to do with this. I just, anyway, Geico, guaranteed it's not going to happen to all the insurance companies. Progressive. Now you got to think of them all differently. We're progressive.
Oh, I could think but State Farm. Dun, 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 dun,
yeah,
dun.
who did? I don't know. Look, okay. All right, I'm going to give this woman kudos, okay, and her attorney for really going full on this and winning. That's a lot of money to like, go at. I'm not sure I would want to be the attorney that kind of like did that, because that's kind of a weird like, how did you make your money? I hacked the insurance company because my woman, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, talk about negligence. She had negligence just by participating in a vehicle, and then he had negligence. So whoever the guy is, like, he's never gonna live that down. But I guess my point is this: is he insurable? And then, like, okay, do you now, as an insurance company, say, like, you see where I'm going with this? Like, I see the whole drink responsibly, but now it's like, I don't know where to go with this, Jesse. There's a confusion in my head, and I don't think I want to let it out because I don't know the implications of this, and yet I do kind of know the implications. But I think maybe somebody's gonna like overturn it because it makes no sense. I get bodily harm of another vehicle hitting you, right? Or does this fall under like renter's insurance? Because now, like, you know what I mean? Like, okay, I got invited to, their place. Let's say a woman knows that she carries a virus, right? Go ahead, Jesse. What do you want to say?
No, so now when people go out and go on dates, just rent a car and get the insurance from them.
You see how many people are going to think like that is my point. How are we going to suffer from paying for this, like, premium? I don't get it, man. Is that full coverage? Is that limited liability? Like, uninsured motorist vehicle? Like, how is this going to go cray-cray, like, in the next few months? I don't know. I think other people are going to see this. They're going to say, you know what? Forget the sledgehammer. I'm just going to claim this, And then insurance fraud. Hey, man, do you have that? Good. Okay, let's just say I have it. All right, I need to see a doctor that says I have it. All right, done. You know what I mean? Like, I'm telling you, man, because people are getting cash strapped and they're getting like desperate. So I don't know. It's a thing that I go, did you think of the implications of down the line? And I'd say, what happened to just the normal, I hit you, you hit me, and now we have insurance to cover it. But now you deal with like certain things that happen in the vehicle at any given time. What if she had a baby from this? Does she charge alimony to Geico? You know what I mean? And how is that covered? I get that they denied it, but whoever saw it, the 3-judge panel responsible for reviewing the appeal confirmed the circuit court's settlement decision of $5.2 million despite Geico's appeal efforts, according to the filing recently. At the time of Geico's intervention, liability and damages have been determined by an arbitrator and confirmed by the trial court. Geico had no right to relitigate those issues. What? How did they not get it? The panel wrote that Geico could have defended its interest by entering a defense of the insured individual. Geico did not take advantage of this opportunity and instead denied coverage and refused to defend insured. Again, this is like a very, very, you know what? I don't know. I mean, well, at least you can get treatment for it, I guess, I mean, nobody wants throat cancer and or herpes in the mouth. That's number one. So, all right, people, we got to take a quick break. I don't know what you said on this. I just know, boy, people, that's, if you can sue on that, imagine the other things you could sue on. Get an attorney. Yikes. All right, we'll be right back with more right after these messages. Stay tuned.
Take KMET 1490 AM with you everywhere you go by downloading our free smartphone apps found on the KMET website, KMET1490am.com. You can also go to the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store on your phone to download the free app. Now you can listen live or play any of your favorite programmers' podcasts using your smartphone. Go to KMET1490am.com and download your free phone app today.
Your pharmacy and mobility solutions is now Beaumont Pharmacy with a new location at the Sundance Corporate Center. That's at the corner of Highland Springs and 8th in Suite 110. Of course, they still have Pack Your Meds. No more counting out the pills, dropping them on the floor. Oh, what a mess. And they have a full selection of pharmaceutical CBD. Wheelchairs, over-the-counter meds, you name it, they've got it. So if you're looking for the best and you want the best pharmacy, you go to Beaumont Pharmacy at their new location, 835 North Highland Springs, Beaumont Avenue in Beaumont, California, Suite 110. Give them a call, 951-845-8252.
Join Yvette Walker every Tuesday at 4 o'clock p.m. on KMET ABC News Radio, 1490 AM, FM 98.1, and Internet KMET TV for the Southern California Business Report. The show is dedicated to highlighting successful businesses and the individuals behind them. Yvette interviews the incredible people managing these enterprises that range from awe-inspiring sole proprietors to world-renowned organizations. The Southern California Business Report, Tuesdays at 4 o'clock p.m.
We're in the studio with Fred Penny, managing attorney with Penny & Associates Injury Lawyers. Fred, tell us what makes you the number one choice for handling personal injury cases.
Most of our firm is made up of former insurance company trial lawyers with extensive experience handling all types of personal injury matters. We believe that gives us a distinct advantage.
That's Penny & Associates Injury Lawyers with locations throughout California. For a free consultation, go to pennyandassociates.com or call 1-800-616-4-LAW. That's 1-800-616-4-LAW.
Are you paying rent because you think you cannot afford to live in your dream home? Are you renting because you don't believe that you have the down payment funds to purchase your own home? The Siegel lending team at ronismylender.com has up to $25,000 to help qualified people purchase their own home at amazing interest rates. Contact the Siegel lending team today at ronismylender.com. Again, ronismylender.com, license under NMLS 217037. ronismylender.com.
That's right. It's the morning show here on ABC News Radio, KMET 1490 AM. We want to do a big shout out to those tuning in on our social media platforms. Again, if you're tuning in on the radio or on our Alexa app, make sure to like us on Facebook, also on Instagram, also on LinkedIn, and also on Twitter. We're on all places. Just look for KMET 1490 AM or myself, Aaron M. Sanchez. You can also look for Jesse at I am Jesse Sanchez, and you can find all that there. Big shout out to those tuning in. Rosalie Huerta says, good morning. Happy Tuesday, everyone. Be amazing today. I like that positivity. I love where it's going with that. Stephanie Reese says, hello. Happy editing this glorious sunshine. Awesomeness. Busy day ahead for today. Awesome. It's very cloudy here, but I hope it will clear up a little later. You know, speaking of which, recently I took my mom out for a little fun in the sun, and then we went to go have some fun at Lucille's, and big shout out to our server who actually evidently wants the book, A Butterfly Story, because she has a little son who I think is 8 months old, and his name also, big shout out, is Aaron as well. And so, you know, she kind of found out about our story. She goes, it's funny that you did that because I call him my little butterfly, you know what I mean? Like my little caterpillar who's going to be a butterfly. I'm like, oh, that's cute. So evidently the word's getting out. Butterflies abound. Yay. There's a story that I have that's kind of progressing into like 8 stories, so those will come out soon enough, but I just got to change a little bit of the book, and a big how do I say this, for those that kind of want to do a book, remember, even your first draft you could still publish. That's called first edition, and then you do a different one on the second edition, and then you're fine, right? Just get it published, because sometimes people hold on to things a little too much and they don't ever get published. You know, and if you want to find it, you can find it at BarnesandNoble.com, right? But yeah, so it's kind of like, how do I say it? Like, you know, whenever there's movies, Jesse, and then there's an alternate ending, you're like, which ending do you like or prefer, like director's cut edition? You know what I mean?
Oh, yes. I usually enjoy the director's cut more often.
Yeah, so it's kind of like that for me. So I'm like, all right, this lady needs a different ending than the ending already. It's a pretty much like, makes you think, but makes the kid appreciate you as a mom. That's what I could say the first edition does. All right, let's see. Algenia says, good morning, friends. Don't give in to Tuesday. We take a licking and keep on ticking. Oh, I guess like if it's a bad thing, I would say have fun with Tuesday, right? All right, Stephanie says, I heard Johnny Depp is going to return as Captain Jack Sparrow in the next Pirates of the Caribbean movie. Good. That's long overdue. I'm glad they're doing that, because they got at least another, I don't know, 3 to 4 ready to go. That should come out. Ellie tuning in. Thank you very much from Georgia. Trinita tuning in. Thank you for tuning in. Rosalie says, nah, she isn't learning because she's still blaming everyone, not taking responsibility. It was a toxic relationship. Johnny admitted to his faults, but she did drugs and drank uncontrollably and never admitted. And to be honest, her performance on the stand just proved she was a horrible actress. She was not a good liar, huh? I know, I saw that. I was like, pretty obvious, lady. Which is good. You don't want a actor or actress to be a good liar in person, right? Because you can never trust them. You get it?
No, that's true. Because like every time like an actor or an actress like gets in trouble, and then they start crying crocodile tears, I'm like, is that a performance or is it real? I really don't know, so I can't really take what you're saying for 100%.
Yeah, let's see. She says she used Johnny, her friends used him, and I won't ever see a movie with her in it. She took advantage of the domestic violence card, and every woman that gets the nerve to speak up and leave will be called an Amber. Oh, I get that. I understand that. But I will say this. Did you see the one with Momoa? Well, if you saw Momoa, would you see... You get what I'm saying? You're still going to see it because Jason Momoa is the lead actor. Now, is she a supportive role? Yes, and I think she did a great job on acting. But again, I think she just needs help. Period, end of story. If anything, here's what I would say. She needs to get help when it comes to her drug situation, right? Or her drug problem, right? And so if anything, she should get help on that. All right, that's what I say. But how many actors have that behind the scenes? And not gonna lie, Depp is not, innocent of that. He's partaken more than once. He has alcohol issues too. Look at someone who cleaned up his act, which we all know and we now love wholeheartedly, right? Which is Iron Man, right? Before he became Iron Man, he had a lot of problems behind the scene, right? And it went all the way back to his childhood, which his father enabled in a really bad way, right? And he's like, it's like opening my mouth and putting a gun in it and then like pulling the trigger. And even the judge tried to give him a few outs, if you remember those court cases, but finally says, no, I got to do the hard thing. You got to go to prison for this. And he did his time in there, right? But boy, did he learn. And then he got the role of a lifetime, but he also got the help he needed and even met the love of his life that helped him out eventually. So when you see her and him together, you go, you know what? He left that behind. Good. And it's good for him and good for people to keep, always, aware of the situation, because it can still go south, right? Once you become an addict of any said thing like alcohol or drugs, it doesn't take a lot to be around the wrong people at the wrong time, or circulate yourself with people that are okay with it, and then it just takes that one, and now you're off the horse. You know what I mean? So I know they always have to watch out very carefully, and if that happens, you got to be ahead of it, because it could be a slow roll back downhill. So I'm hoping at the end of the day, she as a human gets the help that she needs, he gets the help he needs as well, and that they don't enter into this type of what you called a toxic relationship. There are a lot of people that hit those, but they don't ever do anything long-term about it. They don't get the help they need. They think they could fix it. Some fix it, they do, and then others go back to it in another relationship, and then they pick up where they left off. They go, why? Because I've had so many conversations with so many people. One person said, do you pay for your advice? They go, or not pay, do you charge for your advice? I go, I should. I'd make more money. But, it's called just learn from your mistakes. When you see it coming, be very obvious about it and say no. Go the opposite way, and you'll probably be happy that you did. All right. Let's see. Rowena tuning in. Rowena Kanta. I love that name. Awesome. Let's see. Rosalie tuning in. Let's see. And let's see. Yeah, I see some comments here. Yeah, I guess, I try to play both sides. And people get mad at me for playing both sides. But I say this, there's always a human at the end of it all, right? Like, if she did what some people do sometimes, they hit rock bottom and all of a sudden she died because of a suicide, none of us would be okay with that, right? At the end of the day, we would say, whoa, that got out of hand, right? Now, will she take ownership for what she's doing? I say, I hope so, but I don't know if she will. She really needs to get help, and her friends are in her circle that are still there should want her to get help. But if she kind of goes like lone wolf, then she may not get help, and then she'll hit rock bottom. And then 20, 30 years later, we hear she's homeless, right? And that's happened with a lot of actors on the scene. And that's where I say kind of like big companies should at least have something that says, hey, we're going to enter what's it called? Intervention, right? We're going to intervene on this because we care about you and we need you to get the help you need, all right? So, yes, if you want to get back onto this story or this program or this, film, you're going to have to get the help you need. And some have done that, by the way, behind the scenes. Recently, Brad Pitt said to someone else, I can't remember who it was, he said, thank you for getting me off the bottle, right? Because he went to alcohol, and he said it very publicly. That's him saying, look, I get it. I went south, I mean, you can't blame the guy for going south, but he went through a relationship and then no relationship, and then what do you do next? Did he kind of get the alcohol along the way? I don't know. I think it takes, again, two to tango, but you got to be there for the kids. If you're a parent or you're like them, like basically he's in essence an adoptive parent, right? To those kids, do they look up to him? Of course. So if you got kids in your life like that are not your biological kids, then try to work it out. You know what I mean? So for yourself and for the kids that look up to you, because you don't want them to have a problem, right? How many kids did they both adopt together? Because they had a bunch.
I have no idea. I swear to God, I feel like they went to IKEA or something and then started pulling them off the shelves.
Well, you know what? But hold on. I always have to stop you there because of this. It's better to have kids have a home than no home at all. What I think some people say at the end of the day is they're just doing it for the PR. They're not doing it for the PR. If you look at Angelina, when she goes under the carpet, it's not about that 24/7. I'll give you a perfect example. Sandra Bullock has 2 kids that are not biological hers, right? Now, does she have the ability to have kids? Probably. Nobody asked that question. Why do they adopt? Maybe Angelina doesn't have the ability to have kids of her own, right? So she went ahead and adopted, and at least she has the money to, help them all out. She's not doing it for the money. Now, there's a lot of homes that adopt, but they adopt for the money. Like, look at the movie Shazam, right? That's a perfect example of adoptees getting adopted by a couple that were adoptees themselves, and so, they kind of build a little family like that, right? If you haven't seen Shazam, go see it. It's good for the kids. But there's a lot of kids that are from broken homes, or are from negligent mothers or negligent fathers that have no home at the end of the day, and they're in an orphanage. So at the end of the day, they kind of need something to help them, right? Now, do some go out of state and out of the country to help others? Yes, they do, because that was probably brought to them, right front row and center. But if it's a kid that needs help, and they get that help eventually from a parent or guardian that ends up making like a life for them as their own, you can't knock it for long, because at the end of the day, that's what Brad and Angelina wanted. Now, did Brad want kids? That's kind of what Jennifer Aniston kind of alluded to. Like, yeah, he always wanted kids. She was a working woman, so she didn't want kids, right? Now, did she regret that at the end of the day? Because Angelina always wanted kids. That's what people don't know about Angelina. She's very nurturing for a reason. But again, back to those kids. Do they have like a situation there? Yeah, but are they in a better situation than they would have been if they never got the home of Jolie or Pitt at the time? I would say yes, obviously, right? But you never think of the things that they came from as little ones, from their struggles, and sometimes they don't talk about it, right? But I say to those that can do, and those that don't knock it, because they're putting all their heart, all their energy, and all their time in that one, right? Now, I know some people are like, yeah, but they can have help. Well, yeah, of course they can have help, but at least they're doing something with their time, is my point. Some people have money and they don't ever want to do that. They want to keep it to themselves, which I say, all right, again, that's a personal choice. I'm not going to knock either one at it. But what I will say is be responsible. And then to those that do adopt, it's not a PR stunt. A PR stunt is they adopt for a little and then return. That's a PR stunt. They don't. You get it. They don't call them their own, and that's where Sandra Bullock even says, because she always gets the question, "What's it like raising?" And she hates that question. You could tell, but ones that are obviously a different skin type. Let's just put it that way. And at the end of the day, they're still kids. She doesn't really view it that way, but she knows there's going to be questions that the kids have as they grow up, because she got them very young, right? Brother and sister, right? But at the end of the day, she's doing the right thing. Nobody asked the question of what made you want to adopt them? How did you adopt them? And if you're a parent or a person who cannot have kids but always wanted kids, but now you're past that ability to have kids, or you just can't have kids, why not adopt is what I say. And there's orphanages all over and homes that need adoptive parents. So if you have that ability, then do that. There's a great movie on that with, what's his name before we go on Transformers? He was in the movie with the apes.
Are you talking about the movie Instant Family?
Yes, Marky Mark. Yeah. Mark Wahlberg plays a great stepfather to the kids who want to be adopted. Great film. Go check it out. It's great for everyone to get your head behind. All right. So make it a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Same place, same channel. Make it a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye, everyone. All right, for those of you still here, I just want to kind of give a little perspective here, because I've had this conversation with a few people, including orphanages and adult homes that actually adopt, all right? So this is kind of a thing that I say, always have balance when you talk about somebody else's kids, right? When you understand, it takes I'll put it this way. Brad didn't exactly give up when he got ousted, right, from the home, right? At least that's the information we know. Now, there was a whole situation, and it got kind of heated, obviously. But at the end of the day, are the kids well taken care of? I would say the answer is yes, obviously, right? Let me put it this way. At least the kids have a home. right? There's a lot of kids out there that do not have a home, that want a home, right? And if they had a home where you have, perfect example is Instant Family. Okay, I'm going to bring up the movie because, again, I think it's a great film, even for families to watch, right? Because sometimes you have that one that kind of like adopts the family as their own, and it's really like just kind of cool. All right, so I'm gonna bring up the poster here because, again, it's just a great film, and it's actually based on a true story because the producers wanted something that made sense to others, and that, like, it's kind of like a calling card for parents that are thinking about it to let me bring this one up. Yeah, it's a good poster. To consider, if possible, adopting, because there are kids that need adopting. Now, in this story, it takes place with 3 kids specifically who happen to be from a home. I don't think it really covers what they went through from the last home, but they're used to being disappointed. So when they're used to being disappointed, it's hard for everyone, right? So there is no quick solution with this, because when they're used to being disappointed, that's kind of what happens. So but it's a really good film. You could check it out. It's on, I think, streaming platforms. Here it is, with Mark Wahlberg, Rose Byrne, and Octavia Spencer, right? It says, just add chaos, laughter, awkwardness, mistakes, love, all right? And this is a situation where obviously the kids lost their family, but did they lose them to drugs? Did they lose them to alcohol? Did they lose them because, maybe there was abuse in the home? Why did they lose their original family, right? Their biological family, right? But at the end of the day, the one who wants a family is honestly his wife. And so Mark plays this character as her husband, which is like, whatever you want, honey. And then it kind of goes next level, and then boom, right? And then you're like, wait, what happens next, right? So it's a fun ride. It's a little bit slow in the beginning, but if you wait all the way through, you're going to love at least the lesson that it gives you, which is, hey, sometimes people have what I call not non-biological family, right? And they make it work at the end, right? So I know a lot of people that do that for the right reason, and they do it because it's in their heart. And in this situation, I believe the wife who plays, I forgot her character name, but Rose Byrne, she's a great actress, by the way, and he is too. And it's just one of those like telling moments, because that's who Mark is at the end of the day. He's a does he have kids of his own? I don't know. But at the end of the day, it's one of those. Let me put it this way: if you have it in your heart and you're a couple, and you have the ability financially and or not financially, because sometimes they help you out with some of the expenses, not all of it, because kids can be expensive. But if you have that ability and you could bring some sun to the darkness of, like this, 3 kids all at once, right? It starts off good, but boy, oh boy, there's a manipulative little girl there. Yeah, you can kind of see her right there. Not the little one, she's so cute. The teen, right? Because teens can be that way, but she's protective of her young ones, right? Her brother and sister, which sometimes they have to play mom too. But it's look, there is no easy solution when it comes to families like this. So if you're a step parent or a step family member, you're going to have to understand kids come first always, okay? When you understand that, then you understand things can get a little out of hand when sometimes, again, family members, which are biological, had a problem to begin with. And unfortunately, those situations get really bad over time. And when you have somebody responsible like, a Jolie or a Bullock to step in, it's not about the, oh, this is the way they look. It's called they were given a opportunity to adopt because they probably wanted kids of their own. And the reason they want to adopt, and a lot of men don't understand this, women want to have a child, okay? And if you cannot have a child, nobody asked that question, then what's the next step? Have a adopted child, right? Have an adopted family. Now, there are obvious things that come with that, which are, things that the mother always knows is going to happen, or the father who steps in that role with a mother. But sometimes some women actually just adopt on their own. And sometimes even certain men step in, like as, I've seen movies where, let's see, what was it? It was a good movie. oh God, Eugenio Derbez. He did a really good movie, and that one, I think somebody dumps a kid on his like at his doorstep, and then he's like, huh, and he's not ready for it, right? I've seen other movies where like The Aunt, somehow the family, a bad accident, right, and now the kid is on that aunt's doorstep, like, huh? There's a lot of movies about that, but my point is this: if you're a responsible parent and or adult, and you can figure it out, there are kids that will be adults later, and they will appreciate a home where they can go to, they can run to, and they can be safe. If you have a safe environment, they want to run to that, right? Eventually, obviously. But if they don't have a safe environment, you need to call that out, right? But some people go, well, where are the kids going to go next if I call that out? I say, you know what? There are people that are good in the world that will adopt eventually. But you kind of need to have enough people ready to go that want to adopt to begin with. And then if they want to adopt, you need a list of that. And that's where certain places actually have the ability to do it. Now, they screen as much as they can the potential adopted parent. And you don't always adopt right away. You just kind of, sometimes it's like a foster home situation. It's kind of like a wait and see, which kind of is what this movie kind of addresses, because it's kind of like all right, let's see if this is going to work out, and then if it works out, what happens next. But there's a whole situation, and he has a career, she has a career, but now the family is the career, right? And people don't understand that part of it. So I say, don't ever knock a certain, just because they're got that C word, celebrity. Focus on the heart of them, and then you understand why they have other kids. So that's why I always like try to stop it in its because I will say this: we've even interviewed people that came from an adopted home that used to be a orphan, right? But usually they look up to the one who took them in, right? I visited a home, I want to say 3, 4, 5, 6 years, no, probably about 3 or 4 years ago, with a woman who opened up her house, and a single lady, I want to say like in her early 60s, I want to say, which opened up her home as a foster care home, and that was in Covina. And I will say I was very impressed with it because she had kids all over. She had teens that were like 15, 16, 17. And then she had a little one, and it was so sad. I was so sad by seeing this. But she had a little one who was only like 2 or 3, maybe 3 or 4. And she was just like, where am I? I don't want to be here, right? And I was like, oh, and this lady was like grandma, right? She probably want to be addressed as grandma, but she's kind of the ma of the family. Does that make sense? And she opens her home as a temporary home, right, to the kids. Now, not gonna lie, they take advantage of that situation, right? But she's like, hey, well, if you don't like it, because she's got to have like that type of like, I love you, but don't take advantage of me, right? So there's a lot of people in the foster care system which kind of get forgotten, which we kind of need to pay attention to. So pay attention to those that need help. Pay attention to families that need the help, because hopefully you can rehabilitate a family so that they can go back to the way it was. But usually they need intervention to get away from drugs, alcohol, paraphernalia, or anything else. Now, when it comes to like abuse or physical abuse, that is also a situation. But I say usually it's one of the parents, not both the parents, right? Unless you have a negligent mother who kind of gives into it all. Now, the other thing that you got to be careful of course, is the obvious, right? Which we talked about a little bit earlier. Rape, right? Or what they call, obviously, pedophiles, right? But sometimes people don't understand pedophiles. I remember having this discussion with a young one, and it didn't like register with him. And it was like, when you're does that to that, then that happens. So don't allow that to happen. Does that make sense? And it's difficult for people to understand this, but if you know of a situation and you got to just be, I don't know how to say this, but you got to be aware of it. All right, so be aware of it, and then you'll be fine. All right, people, make it a great day, whatever you do. Remember, life is worth living. Live it well. And remember, go watch the movie. It's really good. Instant Family. Great for the whole family. Bye, everyone.